What's up, guys? Clayton here. So, real world Clayton. I decided that another component of this podcast, I'm going to send you guys updates about where I am, what I'm doing, what's going on in life. Just kind of also for me to just document what's going on because I don't even know what's going on. um, so it's just going to be a short, kind of thing to keep you guys updated, what's happening, because these podcasts gets rolled out once a week, and I kind of create them in chunks, and so I want to give you something up to date. So let's get started. As the title shows, we're going to start this on starting from June 18th, which would have been a couple months ago. June 18th was the last official day that I worked as a software engineer. And geez, my life has changed incredibly and so dramatically since then. I've been on a wild journey, and so this is just me kind of trying to document it. So let's see. June 18th was the last day of my job. At some point along the way, I kind of figured out that I wanted to travel the world and, see where life took me. And so, essentially June 18th was the last crazy thing in my life. At one point, I figured out that I was going to, travel to Brazil. And my last official day in San Diego, I believe, was August 20th. Let me look at the calendar. August 19th. So August 19th, I got on a plane. I headed to Raleigh, North Carolina. Spent, I believe, like a week and a half with my sister and family. And then went to Outer Banks, North Carolina, which was super dope. We're talking August like 25th, I believe. And we got to see where the first flight in human history took place. Well, it's at least a modern history. Who knows if there was flying before then, but that's a whole nother conversation, rabbit hole. But in our knowing human history, something like that, the first flight took place, and man, that was a pretty incredible place to be. Just in that atmosphere, seeing the little like strip, the little quote unquote runway, which was about 10 feet long, seeing these stones where they like marked where they landed and everything. I mean, it's quite incredible. I'll be honest. Something definitely just to go and see and just feel the energy in that area, to be just a part of. Super dope. And then we left Outer Banks, my parents and I drove back to Pittsburgh. At which point, I believe it was like the 29th or the 30th, I released my first podcast, which was me just doing this, what I'm doing right now, talking into a microphone. I guess that's a good point to note that I'm not planning on recording any of these and putting them on YouTube. These will just be like a podcast only type format. Anyhow, the 29th, I literally started my podcast in my parents' basement. And so it's kind of cool to say, because I feel like a lot of successful things start in parents' basements or garages. So we'll see what happens. But at any point over the next few days, I recorded a podcast with Kevin, with Tiara, James, and then my mom. I did all those from my parents' basement. And obviously those are all out there at this point and free. But the next podcast I released, which will be the 005, not going to release who that is yet. However, that podcast was done at my next destination in Orlando. When did I get to Orlando? Sorry, bad radio. Flight was September 10th. September 10th, I got on a plane and flew to Orlando, at which point I recorded, it looks like 005 on September 14th. Spent a great time in Orlando with some college friends. Stayed with a roommate, Dallas. Shout out Dallas. Stayed with him for, let me see here, it was about 10 days. Super grateful for him putting up with me for that long. Hopefully I wasn't too intrusive. And, we went to Orlando. I got to see some friends. One of my friends has a kid. So if you follow me on Instagram, you got to see me holding a baby, which is kind of dope. First time I really, I think, could appreciate that whole, uh, the gravity of having a kid and bringing another life into this world. So that was incredible and super grateful for that entire thing. Then moving forward, I got on a plane on the 21st, and I headed to Atlanta. And Atlanta was super dope. Got to walk around. There was like Centennial Park. I went to the aquarium, which go to the aquarium. If you're in Atlanta, you go check out the aquarium. It's incredible. Like the whole setup of it is just very unique, and I think it is extremely well done. I guess I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to overhype it because I feel like I've been overhyping it to people, but I'd put a 10 out of 10 recommend visiting that. I then went to the Coca-Cola World, which was pretty cool, but I felt like it was a big marketing gimmick. If I'm being honest, definitely inspired me to want to buy more Coca-Cola stock, although I have not done that yet. I think it's an incredible marketing tactic. So I was viewing it through the lens of somebody who's trying to sell you more corn syrup. So I recommend going and checking that out, but try to view it through a marketing lens if you're of that nature. And I got there September 28th. Shout out Joey Farrow. He hooked it up, man. He let me stay with him. Incredible place. He's super hospitable, just a great guy. Hadn't talked to him in like 4 years. We used to be on the same Halo team. I used to coach his Halo team and back in the day. And so it was like probably longer than 4 years, probably 5 or 6. And, just to be able to be like, hey man, I'm going to be in Atlanta. And then the hospitality he gave me was incredible. So Joey, if you're listening, thank you. Appreciate it. So that was Atlanta. Checked out Atlanta a bit, went to the zoo, pretty cool zoo. They had pandas, which were pretty fucking adorable. They were just rolling around playing with each other. But let's keep it moving. So then where are we in the lineage? At some point I got a plane ride. Oh, so flight to Atlanta was on September 22nd. And then September 24th, I landed in Raleigh, North Carolina again. And my sister lives here, so I'm staying with her. And this is actually being recorded on September 27th. And it was cool. We went to like a tailgate. We saw NC State beat Clemson, which seems like something that never happens here. And I feel like I'm just dragging this out, but that was essentially the weekend. Hung out with her, got some dope food, talked about life, something I always enjoy doing. And then now I'm recording this. It's being recorded, and I'm going to probably try to post it today, September 27th. My podcast with my mom just released today, which is super dope. Hopefully you got to check that out. It was a really interesting one. I think it was really interesting in the sense that, it was my mom. It was the only podcast I had done like side by side with somebody. So it had a different energy for me. Definitely shoot me a message if you feel like there was different energy in your mind too. Oh, excuse me. So let me know what you think about that. Super cool, super dope. And then, so it's September 27th at 9 a.m. East Coast that I'm recording this, and I get on a flight to head to Atlanta with a layover, then going to São Paulo, Brazil, and then a flight to, where's it going? Porto Alegre. We'll see what happens. They said that there was going to be some issues because I haven't bought a flight out yet, so I might have to buy a flight somewhere in the airport. I'm thinking Buenos Aires. I'll probably buy one, go for 2 weeks. Because I think for New Year's, I'm meeting up with people in Florianopolis, Brazil. So we'll see how that plays out, but I'm going to have to do some finagling when I get to the airport. But, I'll get there plenty of time. Sister's going to drive me there. And, I have the 5th episode recorded, so that'll drop on October 4th. And then I have a bunch of other guests lined up to interview them this week. Hopefully, I got like 3 or 4 people I have in mind. Um, but yeah, let's see what happens. I'm really excited for the things that going from here. I'm leaving America. I'm not sure when I'll be back. You know, could be 6 months, could be a year. I don't know. Let's see. It's scary and exciting at the same time, and yeah, I'm glad you guys are listening to this to follow along. Reach out if you're have any questions, want to meet up in any of these cool cities I'm checking out. But hopefully these like real world things are a little bit more frequently. I'm thinking maybe I'll do one a week. But at least, and so they'll be shorter. I know this one's dragging on. We're at like 11 minutes now. And so, I just quick updates is what I'm looking for. This is probably a longer one because it was a longer duration that I had gone without doing it. So hopefully we'll do it like once a week. So that way it's like an intermediate thing, like who I've recorded the timeline of everything. So I think that'd be cool where it's just like one interview a week and then a quick like 5 minute catch up with Clayton kind of thing. But all right, cool. That's going to do it for my first real world Clayton. And yeah, thanks for listening.